Okay, so the patch notes for Diablo 4 Season 1 are finally here. It's a big day, and according to polling here on the channel, 50% of you were waiting for these patch notes to drop until making the decision about what class you're going to play for Season 1. So what I'm going to do is take my time and go through this in depth, grab something to drink, grab something to eat, kick your feet up. This is going to be a fun one where we go over the biggest patch to hit Diablo 4. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first up, we have got new unique items and legendary aspects. So 6 unique items. Okay, so first up, we've got the Havarian Spear of Lysander. Ooh, unfortunate. This is a uber unique. Okay, so that means it's going to be like the Shaco. That means you're not going to get it, basically. The uber uniques are a big letdown because it's like 12 people on planet Earth that end up getting these to drop. So it's going to be gaining random shrine effect for 10 to 20 seconds after killing an elite. Can only occur once every 30 seconds. This is super cool, and this would be a lot of fun. It's just the uber uniques need adjustment. Maybe that'll happen in this patch. Maybe we'll see somewhere down the road. Really, really cool item. I love it, but it's an uber unique. So if there's no change to uber uniques, it's not going to be as hype. Barbarian, the Azure Wrath, unique sword. Now this says unique. So this is not uber unique. That means it's actually going to be in the game. So a lucky hit, your core skills have up to a 20% chance to freeze enemies for 3 seconds and deal some cold damage to them. Could be good. We'll have to see. Druid, the Flesh Render. This is a unique, not an uber unique. Debilitating Roar and Blood Howl deal 0.5 to 1 damage to nearby poisoned enemies. Okay. Necromancer, the Live This Wall, a super iconic item in Diablo, and it is just a unique. So while you have an active Bone Storm, which is pretty common, a lot of Necros use that, hitting an enemy outside of a Bone Storm will have up to a 5 to 25% chance to spawn an additional Bone Storm at the location. That's pretty cool. Each of your active sacrifice bonuses increases the chance by 25%, and the total of additional Bone Storms you can have by 1. That's actually really cool. This is the one I like the most out of the uniques I've seen so far. Other than the uber unique, it's super cool, but it's just, I know I'm never gonna have one. And then we get Eagle Horn, a unique bow. Let's make Archer Rogue a thing. Love it. Penetrating shot with a 30 to 80% chance to fire an arrow that bounces off walls and scenery. That's super cool. Hitting enemies from behind with penetrating shot will make them vulnerable for 3 seconds. We need more ways to proc vulnerable within different items and different builds, so I really like the Eagle Horn concept as well. Sorcerer, the Oculus, another famous item here in Diablo lore. A unique, so it's actually attainable. Gain the effect of the teleport enhancement for free, and when you evade using the teleport enhancement, you are now taken to a random location. Interesting. Okay, it's good, but it's gonna get a little bit crazy. Then we've got 7 new legendary aspects. So Audacity, which is utility when there are at least 5 close enemies, which happens all the time. Stun them for 2 to 4 seconds, and this can occur once every 20 seconds. So just in general, in games like Diablo, I really dislike things that have an internal cooldown, like can only happen once every 20 seconds. I would rather them just balance it around being able to constantly happen, or at least happen a lot more often, and then nerf it, like, you know, stun enemies for 1 second instead, but remove the internal cooldown and just let it happen whenever. Or, I mean, I guess you got to have some sort of cooldown, but I just, in general, I dislike the internal cooldowns, but this could have some decent utility. And then we've got a mobility aspect. You gain 20 to 40% increased movement speed when moving away from slow or chilled enemies. When moving away from, like, that's a little bit too niche, because usually if you're slowing something or chilling it, you're trying to kill it. So yeah, I don't know about that one. It's a pretty good bump to movement speed. And I guess, like, if you're targeting an elite and killing it and then moving on to the next elite, that would be nice to get that little, like, movement speed boost or something. But it seems like it's going to be a little bit too niche. And those 2 are going to be for all classes. But now we get into the class-specific ones. So Ancestral Charge for the Barbarian. Charge Forth calls 4 Ancients who also charge. That's super cool. I like bringing in minions and sending in the Ancients here for the Barb, so that's a fun one. Druid, Subterranean, is going to be Poison Creepers active. Also cast Landslide in a circle around you. Earth skills deal 10 to 20% increased damage to poison enemies. I think that'll be a pretty good one there. Necromancer, Gore Quills. Blood Lance will consume blood orbs to also conjure lances from them. That's pretty cool. Blood Lance definitely needs some buffs here for the Necro. Each additional Blood Lance deals 20 to 50% of the normal damage and prioritizes targets of unlanced enemies. So yeah, that's definitely a fun one. I like the concept here of proccing additional ways to play builds and have a bunch of crazy things going on. So that is a fun one. Pestilent points here for the rogue. Every third cast of Puncture is poison imbued with 100-150% of normal potency, just kind of a damage bump there. And then Sorcerer, the Searing Wards, after spending 200 to 100 mana, your next Firewall cast is free and will destroy incoming small missiles. That could be really good for like nightmare pushing. You just keep dropping a bunch of firewalls to enable a little bit of tankiness there to put up kind of a wall where missiles can't get through. I think it's almost more of like a support style for a sorcerer. I don't know if it's going to have a ton of utility in terms of like making the fire build super potent, but it's at least fun and interesting. And then we've got an issue here with some bug fixes and fixing issues here. So these are just going to kind of be like random little things that most people don't come across, but it is nice that they're kind of like fixing issues here. I'll try to scan through quick and see if I see any like super noteworthy ones. So I'm kind of scrolling here. I mean, most of this stuff is like super niche and most of you have probably never even noticed it, but it looks like this is super impactful right here. The level requirement for sacred items will now cap at 60, and the level requirement for ancestral items will now cap at level 80. Those are massive changes, and that really needed to happen. So I'm super glad that they made that. That's going to really impact like the trading and being able to purchase things and interact with other players within the market. So those are definitely really, really good changes. Those two things should have almost had like their own section in bold, because those are not random little bug fixes. Those should have really been highlighted here. A lot of people might miss that, but that is going to be a big deal. That really affects how the game is played and how some of the trading and stuff is going to be happening. Fixed an issue where the clones of a monster with suppressor affix would also have these those damn suppressors. So that'll actually be a good one there as well. And then they're going to be making changes to a bunch of like quests and events, but mostly just like bug issues and stuff like that. So yeah, I tried. I mean, there's like 250 of these like random little bug fix, like fixed an issue where rapid fire had an extra arrow VFX that behaved erratic. I mean, just like random stuff that most people wouldn't even notice. I tried to catch most of the noteworthy ones, but I didn't want to bore you for 30 minutes reading every single one word for word. So if I missed any, I apologize, but I think I hit the like most notable ones to kind of catch in that section. And now we've got loading screen updates, added more dynamic loading screens with the release of the season of the Malignant, and this includes adding more assets to the loading screen, such as your player character. That's good. We end up seeing loading screens a lot in Diablo 4. It's not like super oppressive, but we do see them a lot. So it'd be really cool if they made them more robust, like if it would pop up your character and show your stats or show something cool on those loading screens and make them more dynamic. So I'm all for that. And then we have the gameplay updates. So this is going to be the juicy part here. Now these ones I will read word for word for you. So Altar of Lilith unlocks are now account wide. We knew that was coming, and that is epic. Map discovery is now account wide. Epic. Whispers will no longer reward sigil dust. Overall loot quality has been significantly improved for silent chests. The channel time for leave dungeon ability has been increased from 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, that'll definitely impact like some of the hardcore pushing. We have generally reduced the tendency for many monsters to move around in combat so that melee characters don't have to chase down their enemies as much. That'll be big for especially the leveling process for like barbarians and druids, especially when they feel so clunky trying to chase around all these random little mobs that are erratically avoiding them. So that should be a really big improvement to the Season 1 leveling process. Added PS5 DualSense Edge wireless controller support for PC, okay? And then World Tier 2, oh wait, here we go. This will be big. World Tier 2 has had the following bonuses added. Gold increased from 15 to 20%, and hey, we're getting Magic Find, finally. I don't know how they ever designed World Tier 2 without providing any sort of benefit like it did now, but monsters are going to be dropping 15% more items. So, hey, this does actually change things. You're going to get more gold and you're going to get more loot because you do kill things about 15 to 20% slower on World Tier 2 typically. It can actually be worse on some builds, but now you're at least going to get a little bit more Magic Find and a little bit more loot to drop I would have almost had it increase the quality, not the quantity, because our inventories already fill up pretty fast in Diablo 4. So I would have almost made it like the odds of rolling a higher item power or a higher item tier or something, but at least 15% more is nice, because if you're doing world tier 2 on the leveling process, at least you'll get more yellows and stuff to help you keep your build up to snuff as you're leveling. So that's definitely a step in the right direction. I would have probably made this 20 or 25%. I would have just made them both 25%. I would have made bonus gold 25% and 25% higher quality of loot. Level scaling inside dungeons and the most overworld territories has been adjusted in world tiers 3 and 4. Mobs will begin to trail behind the player in level after a certain point, up to a maximum of 5 levels behind. This change does not affect world bosses, Legion events, Nightmare dungeons, stuff like that. So we want to give players a better sense of their power progression and mastery over the world while still challenging themselves with structured endgame activities. So, okay, it gives us some examples here. So if the player is below level 55, the mob's level is 55. If the player's level is 56 to 60, the mob will be 55. If the player is 61, the player will be 56. So it's going to stay 5 behind. If the player is level 62 and the mob is level 57, from this point, the mob will always be -5 world tier 3's max mob level of 70. So I think this will be good. I think this is a pretty solid change, as long as it doesn't affect like the loot and the XP you're getting. But also, people really aren't going to be using the open world to grind XP super much anymore, ever since they buffed up Nightmare dungeons. But I do think that this change to the world tier scaling is going to be a pretty good change that players are going to like. Then we've got experience. So reward experience for completing whispers in world tiers 3 and 4 has been significantly increased. I wish they would tell us the actual numbers. Sometimes they just say significantly increased. I don't know if that means 10% or if that means doubled, but it is definitely a good change, that whispers are going to be a lot more impactful. So, maybe they're giving us the changes right here. So we are adjusting the bonus experience rewards for killing mobs that are higher level than the player. Oh, so this is different than the whispers here. So pre-season of the malignant bonus. Yeah, so this is what it was. It was, if they're 1 level above you, you get 15%. If there's 2 levels, you get 20. If there's 3 levels, you get 25. But now, what it's going to be in the season of the Malignant is 1.5% bonus per level up to 10 levels. Okay, so wait. But now what it's going to be is 1.5% bonus per level up to 10 levels. Oof. That's a big nerf to XP. Yeah, so this is going to be a huge nerf to Nightmare Dungeons XP, because you're typically killing stuff that's at least 3 levels above you and you're getting that 25% bonus. But now you're going to get a maximum bonus of 15%, and it's going to go all the way up to 10 levels above you. So at 3 levels, you're only getting 4.5%, whereas 3 levels above you before, you were getting 25%. So oof, that is a big nerf. Unless I'm reading this wrong, that is a big nerf. That looks like it's going to be a big nerf to some of the XP gains that we're getting for really pushing content that is higher leveled than us. Also adjusting experience rewards for the mob level to offset. So current world tier offset, well, up to +3, up to plus 100. We're changing this. +6, okay. I see. So I think what this is going to be is going to be affecting like power leveling, because it says right here, you're level 1 and your friends bring you into a world tier 4 and leave you at the entrance of a dungeon and they start killing level 100 mobs. It used to be you got the full scaling, but now it's going to stop at level 11. So power leveling is going to be a lot worse. So, I've done things in the past where, like, I did a video showing how I power leveled from level 1 to level 50 in under an hour, and it was by doing this, like, dungeon clearing with a team, and we take turns power leveling each other and stuff. But that is going to be significantly worse. Yeah, I don't know. Some people are going to like this change, and some people are going to really hate it. It's going to be harder for you to, like, help out friends and carry people, but it's also going to make it more rewarding for those that really want to earn everything themselves. So it could be a little bit of a mixed bag there. Then we've got the Helltide mobs are now 3 levels higher instead of just 2, and the Tortured Gift of Mysteries chest had a cost increase to 250 instead of 175, and all interchangeable effects in Helltide zones now have a small chance of dropping cinders. Okay, yeah, the cinders need a little bit better flow to them, so it kind of offsets the cost a little bit. It should be mostly the same. This is all mostly fine. Oh geez, now we get into the balance changes right here. So okay, barbarian. Our barbarian's gonna get nerfed into the ground again. Double swing duration increased, good. Furious upheaval increased. Let's see if there's any nerfs. Cooldown reduction capped to 3 targets, maximum of 9. Tactical ground stomp. Fury gain increased. Enhanced damage increased. So, okay, they're trying to, it looks like they're going to be doing mostly buffs, which is a good sign. Enhanced rupture, warrior's rupture attack speed, fighter's rupture increased, passive hamstring now only slows healthy enemies, and the slow amount increased. Cut to the bone, vulnerable, Paragon Wrath of the glyph bonus to all damage instead of just core skills. That'll be good. And then aspects. So Berserker's aspect duration increased from 1 to 2. This is good. Like we're seeing all buffs. I'm wondering if they're gonna slam the Necro with any nerfs, especially around like the Bone Spear stuff. But as far as the Barbarian, it looks like they survived with mostly just buffs to other stuff. And then the Gore's devastating grips. So now explodes every 2 seconds or after it ends, and then they're going to be removing the cap that was put in place to fix it. So what this was doing was these Gore's grips, they were doing like infinite damage scaling by channeling forever. Well, now it's going to force you to stop that channel every 2 seconds, and then they're just going to remove that cap. So that'll be, I mean, it could be kind of a nerf to that playstyle, though, because I think people tended to hold on to it for longer than 2 seconds. Fields of Crimson Bleeding increased. Okay, so cool. Looks like the Barbarian mostly survived, although that Gore's change could be a little bit of a nerf, but it'll make the build more consistent. And then we've got the Druid right here. So for Druid, let's see. Reduced. Damage reduction reduced from 25 to 15. That's a nerf on the Storm Strike damage reduction. Boulder damage increased. Increase. Vulnerable duration increased from 2 to 3. Increase from 2 to 4. Unstoppable for 6 seconds while active. That's solid. Threshold overpower reduced. Then for Spirit Boon, requires lucky hit chance. Increased, fortify increased, overload damage increased, okay, and then Paragon now affects all instead of, okay, yep, same as the barb there, increase, so it looks like, again, most stuff being buffed here, but maybe a couple little changes here to the Druid, but nothing super noteworthy, it doesn't look like, for either one so far. I don't know if either one here was like so game changing that it's gonna really affect things, because I'm not seeing like damage changes. I'm not seeing like this skill damage increased 25% or anything like that. I'm just seeing kind of like fundamental changes here. I hope when we get to things we'll see certain, okay, like right here, see, this is good. Like on the Druid, we are getting like the lightning damage increased from 64 to 77% and tornado damage from 19 to 23. So stuff like that is what I want to see. I want to see like boulder damage increase from 33 to 46. That's pretty good. That's solid. Healing increased. I wish there was more stuff like that, like taking some of the skills that are underwhelming, like sorcerer, fire skills and stuff like that, and making them do a lot more damage here. But it looks like we're not getting a ton of that. So let's move into the Necromancer and see. Is there anything? And this is from 4 to 3 increased. I'm looking for Bone Spear. I don't see it here. I don't see Bone Spear being changed. Bone Prison, Abhorrent. Can I search for Bone Spear? Will this work here? Oh, Bone Spear fixed an issue. Fixed an issue or enhanced Bone Spear. I don't see Bone Spear being nerfed. Look at that. Okay, so Bone Spear survived, it looks like. I don't, unless I'm missing something. Let me make sure here. Yeah, I'm not seeing like a nerf here to the Bone Spear. Enhanced Blood Surge, Blood Lance. Blood Lance needed like a damage buff. The Evulsion bonus being reduced to vulnerable, that is going to hurt Bone Spear a little bit, but it's 6, 12, 18 to 5, 10, 15. Yeah, so I mean that does hurt the scaling a little bit, but it'll still be really good. It'll still hit really hard. Amplified damage increased. Yeah, okay. Book of the Dead. So Necromancer's minions will now automatically resummon after respawning during a world boss fight. That's good. Skeleton Warrior Defenders, Mage. A bolt. So wait, is this a nerf? So the skeleton mage upgrade attacks required for. Oh no, wait, that's a buff. Bone spear skeleton mage, fortify iron golem. Okay, as it will now affect all instead of just core. That is good. Oh, here it is. Maybe we've got the bone shard damage bonus reduced from 50 to 100 to 30 to 60. Okay, so yeah, there it is. There's a little bit of change to the bone kind of the bone spear, bone shard bonus being affected there. So we've seen mostly buffs coming through, but this was definitely a reduced right here on the bone shard damage. Reduced, blood lance increased, blood soaked, aspect of the damned, bonus, okay, increase damage reduction, okay, steam essence, okay. So I don't think bone spear got nerfed as hard as I thought it would, but it is definitely going to be a little bit worse. Okay, so then we've got the rogue right here. Come on, let's make the archer rogue a thing. So rapid fire duration, that's really good. Caltrops, okay. I want to see like damage increases. Concealment, the death trap reduced, increased, passives, lucky hit increased. Okay, 5% there. Let's see. I'm not seeing it. All instead of just core. Specialization, legendary aspects. So the aspect chill. Okay, so it looks like Twisting Blades survived. Twisting Blades is still going to be a god tier, S tier build, it looks like. I'm not missing anything that's super nerfed Twisting Blades, right? Yeah, it doesn't really look like it here. And then there's an aspect that was really nerfed here. All the shadows, damage increased, vengeful. I'm not. It should. Yeah, like Twisting Blades should still be a god tier leveling build here for season 1. And then, oh no, the Sorcerer. Come on now, give us something on the Sorcerer. So, charge bolts. Okay, that needed a boost there. Destructive charge bolts. Incinerate. There's going to be damage. Incinerate. Okay. Incinerate damage reduction increase. Okay, come on. 20 to 25. Incinerate's probably the worst skill in the game. Fire bolt initial damage increased. Firewall increased mana regeneration. Okay, wizards. Blizzard core skill. Supreme deep freeze. Okay. Elemental Dominance is going to affect mastery skills, including things like Blizzard instead of just core skills. Okay, that's really good. Protection Barrier from 2 to 3. Align the Elements was way underwhelming. It went from 1, 2, 3 to 3, 6, 9. That's really good. Mana Shield damage reduction. Okay, good. Some general buffs here to the Sorc. Devouring Blaze, one of the best scaling passives. So we've got the damage, reduced. Wait, Sorc is getting nerfed? What? Like critical damage reduced from 10, 20, 30 to 7, 14, 21? What? I swear, if Sorcerer gets nerfed, what? Dude. And Devouring Blaze getting nerfed again to Immobilized is gonna... This went from 75 to 30. Oh my goodness. You gotta be kidding. Is this what Sorc gets? No. No. Did you seriously give a 5% buff to Incinerate and then nerf the one thing that helps Sorcerers scale? You nerf Sorcerer? What? I can't believe this. There's no way. Like, there's no way this is real. There's gotta be something here that buffs instead. I've gotta be missing something. There's no way. Wow. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. Okay, so legendary aspects. Is there anything here that I'm missing? Chance to apply vulnerable increased. I mean, that's good, but like the damage scaling went down. I can't believe it. That blows my mind. So unless there's like some big change to like Isu's movement speed increase, I mean that's good, but this isn't like game changing. Fireball damage, like, wow. Okay, so I think Sorc overall got nerfed. I'm almost like questioning if I'm going crazy, like if I'm missing something, like if I'm not reading this right. But the most important thing on Sorcerer was Devouring Blaze and like getting the ranks on your amulet and being able to scale up your damage to try and be competitive on the class, and they slammed it into the ground. So yeah, and I don't see anything that offsets that. I don't see anything that's so amazing that it would offset the slamming of Devouring Blaze. So I think Sorc is a net negative in this patch. Well, let's see if it gets any better. Okay, so aspects. So this is general. The aspect of disobedience. So this is again one of the best defensive aspects in the game. Maximum stacks reduced. Oh my goodness, they're nerfing aspect of disobedience. From 100 to 60, reducing the maximum bonus armor from 50 to 30. So they're slamming disobedience into the ground. Aspect of retribution bonus, damage to stun reduced. Exploiter's aspect to unstoppable reduced. And then the aspect of resource restore increase. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Butcher's Cleaver slow increase. That's good. Drop rate adjustments. This could be good here. So increased bonus to drop ancestral and sacred items in Nightmare Dungeons from +5 to +10. So a little bit more loot in Nightmare Dungeons. I mean, at least that's good. Removed a 20% chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite mobs outside of Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide. Increased chance to drop extra equipment from elite mobs in Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide. Nightmare Dungeons and now have a 50% chance to drop a second legendary item upon completion. That's good. Nightmare Dungeons now give 3 rare items upon completion up from 1. Okay, so that's good. So instead of getting like the 1 legendary and the 1 rare, now you're going to get 3 rares instead of just 1. And then you've also got a 50% chance to get a second legendary. So you're going to complete some Nightmare Dungeons and get 2 legendary items and 3 yellows. So all in all, a big boost to actually following through with finishing the dungeon there. Increased mob HP scaling from 85 to 100%. Bonus per extra player. Wait, so they're nerfing playing in a group? Why? Why do this? What? Increase HP scaling from 85 to 100. Why? I don't get why you would do that. Okay. Adjusted the scaling of the Greed Shrine. That's good. The Greed Shrine is super underwhelming throughout the game. World bosses now drop potions more often. No longer a limit to how many materials you can refine. Okay, that's good. They used to like weirdly cap this and instead of just letting players go ahead and refine materials, so that's good. But we don't get a developer's note here on the increased HP scaling. I don't know why. Like already in Diablo 4, people are tending to kind of play solo almost more often when they're clearing. So I don't know why they would nerf playing in a group. That is, there's some really, like the nerf to Devouring Blaze without giving the Sorcerer something to really offset that. And then the nerf to playing in a party. Some things are really shocking me here. But let's continue. We're increasing the availability of affixes below. So increasing the availability of them can now appear on pants. Okay. Oh, so that's good. They're going to kind of make some of these a little bit more, have a little bit more freedom to them. Yeah, so like when you're finding items, this is stuff that can now roll on them. So control impaired, duration reduction can appear on pants, and you usually want like defensive stats on your pants. Barrier generation can now appear for all classes and will begin dropping later in the game. Lucky hit chance while you have a barrier can now appear for all classes on a helm or an amulet or offhand. Mastery skill damage. Okay, cool. And resistance to all elements can appear on shields. Okay. Now this next section here, we've got the core stat bonus on weapons has been overperforming, so we're pulling back on the bonus. So strength, dex, int, and willpower are going to be lower stat values on weapons, okay? And then cooldown reduction often felt mandatory, so they're going to be lowering. Oh my goodness. Wow. So it looks like just across the board, cooldown reduction reduced by 30% on these rolls. But that like, that you almost got to make like the mobs weaker to compensate for that, because that's really going to hurt the rotating of builds and getting through. So yeah, that's a big change. That's going to hurt a lot of builds and how smooth they are to play. And then we're seeing that critical strike damage and vulnerable damage are often viewed as a hard requirement for build success. I mean, crit damage is going to be a requirement in every game. So that's just kind of like par for the course. It is what it is. Like you got to have something to hit hard. Vulnerable, I kind of get. And then believe is a step towards allowing more builds to flourish. So critical strike damage is going to be reduced by 17%. Lightning critical strike damage reduced by 17%. Critical strike damage with bone. Oh, so here it is. Vulnerable damage reduced by 40%. Okay, but like the thing is, if you're gonna do this, you need to like adjust how the game scales. It's gonna be really hard to level up and progress and get into like the end game content and do stuff if you can't. Well, I mean, like they need to be adjusting the game or giving some survivability bonuses for like the longer fights or something, because this is a big change. But if you don't evolve the game or buff other stuff around it, they're just kind of like nerfing everything. They're just nerfing cooldown reduction, nerfing main stats, and then nerfing crit strike damage, nerfing the damage of these skills, nerfing vulnerable. But like where's the buffs that make up for this? Like all of this, like there is no like global multiplier to like core skills or mastery skills or anything. There's no like global nerf to mob health or scaling. It's just everything is being slammed across the board. This is super weird. I mean, maybe they will, like, as we go down here. So, because, like, here's a big... Okay, so maybe this is going to be it, where you've got, like, cold damage increased by 25%. Okay, so we have seen that skillful players are frequently slaughtering mobs many levels above their own. We want to support this, but the current situation is beyond what we believe to be correct for the long-term health of the game. Chase this goal, we're shifting power to many offensive affixes from defensive affixes, and we know this will make our endgame content more deadly, particularly for those chasing our pinnacle boss. An encounter not meant for the faint of heart. Overcoming the pinnacle boss will take every ounce of grit you can muster and all tools at your disposal. We will continue to evaluate feedback from the community. So now this is global change. So this is what I was talking about. Okay, so we've got bone skill damage increased by 20. So they're going through and they are giving some global multipliers. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. This is good. Like if you're gonna be reducing everything in the game, like vulnerable and crit damage and all of that. So it looks like what they're trying to do is shorten the gap so that like the difference between min-maxing like your vulnerable damage and not is going to be a little bit shorter because we're getting some of these global increases. But like fire damage, this should have been like 75% or something. Fire damage increased, like the burn damage needs to go way up. Physical damage 25, physical damage, okay, so physical damage over time 40, fire damage over time 40. That's good. We need fire needed to be like double though, because you're literally standing there waiting for things to burn down. It should have been double. But like vulnerable getting a global nerf of 40% is pretty crazy. But like conjuration skill damage 33%. So like the Hydra like fire Sorc for leveling will be a little bit better now, because what the problem for Sorcerer was they can't proc vulnerable super reliably without Frost Nova, but now they're getting a little bit of a buff to fire skills because fire damage is 25%, and then damage over time is increased by 40%, and then conjuration skill damage is getting 33% as well. So yeah, okay, I mean this is definitely some big changes. But I'm at least glad they did this section here. I was getting a little bit worried there for a second. I was like, they're gonna slam everything into the ground and not give us any global increases. But then they did give us some global increases. So I'm a little bit more hopeful than I was. But wow, we have got a lot of testing to do. And this definitely shakes up the landscape of what to expect here in Season 1. And it looks like that is the end of the patch notes. So, okay, I'm going to need to touch base with some people in the team and get some collabs with other creators and jump in a call and start testing some stuff and keep you in the loop as to what to expect here for Season 1. Because this patch, there was some good in it, and there was also some bad, or not really bad, but confusing things. But the global increases to some of the stuff means that we've got an opportunity to test some things and see how, because like the vulnerable being adjusted and the crit damage and then the global increases and stuff, like these gaps really changed a lot. So I need to do a lot of testing here in the upcoming week. So let me know what you think down below. I'll host a poll over on the community side of the channel here where you can voice your opinions on if you think the patch notes are overall good or bad in terms of a first impression, and then I will let you know how testing is going on all of this different stuff here as we head into season 1 very soon this weekend. So I appreciate all of you. I will see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.